So I work in manufacturing. And right now I'm working for a pretty big company that's been doing this for a long time. It's 2023 and they don't have a barcode system to track their inventory. To move inventory around the shop, people have to do manual transactions. You know, it's all electronic and all that, but there's no sort of barcode system that you can just scan it. And when you ask around, you find out that, yeah, most of the people who are working on the shop floor right now know that things would objectively be better with a barcode system. You'd be able to just scan a part when it shows up. It would be in that department. You'd know where the fuck it is. But the reason that we don't have one is because apparently it costs, I think it's like 29 cents a piece to generate barcodes. And so because, you know, some higher ups would have to like look at an expense report and see those items, how much those individual barcodes would cost. They don't want to do it. They don't see it as worth the investment. Meanwhile, they have God knows how many people, college educated individuals who are all making 6 figures a year, minimum, who spend most of their time walking around the shop looking for parts, trying to find shit. All that money gets wasted in overhead. Stuff that they can't track, that they're not seeing on a piece of paper, so they're just like fucking oblivious to it. But God forbid we spend 29 cents a piece on a fucking barcode that would be insanely useful to help us keep track of things. Basically, I bring this up because this right here is everything that's wrong with corporate America, the corporate world in general at this point. You know, penny wise and dollar stupid. The interesting thing about working for this company now, I've worked for a couple of smaller companies before this, you know, family-owned companies. And it's a very different environment. Being where I am now, it's this interesting, like, combination of things. Where you have all your standard manufacturing bullshit. None of us know what the fuck we're doing. We're all, like, trying to figure shit out on the job because none of us are really trained all that well. Even those of us with education still come in not knowing what the fuck we're doing. And that's true pretty much everywhere you go. But on top of this, you also have like this whole corporate structure and all this other bullshit. So it's like your usual shop floor bullshit, your corporate America bullshit. You got some, international bullshit dealing with different vendors and different people from different places. It's a whole bunch of different bullshit all swirled up into one big shitty company. And the thing with the corporate bullshit is that they're really obsessed with like metrics and figures and you know, seeing a fucking graph to like show them what they want to see, right? They're obsessed with that shit. It's weird. Coming from smaller companies, that sort of thing mattered a little bit, you know. Sometimes you gotta like present things to your customers. You want to be able to show some stuff, but like it didn't matter the way it matters at a bigger company. It just didn't. Corporate shit's different. They love a good graph, you know. They don't spend any time or ever ask themselves the question of how much money and effort it takes to generate these graphs. They just want to see graphs. Like that's all. They just want to see shit that looks like what they're hoping to see. Yeah, corporate culture is obsessed with this like cost-cutting mentality. They think that they can like analyze and metric their way out of whatever problems they're facing. To give some slight bit of credit, I guess, or understanding, I think a lot of this shit is newer. We take for granted how new it is to have all this data at our hands. Going back to the early 90s and in 2000s and whatnot, we were starting to see this sort of collection, but even the early computers, it required so much more manual labor to get to it. Now there's just like so much data and everybody can play with it, manipulate it, and do fun stuff. And it's like, I hope on some level it's just like a phase corporate America or the corporate world just has to get through, you know, the temptation to look at figures and think they're going to tell you a full story, but they won't. But see, the reality is, at this point, it's becoming a self-fulfilling prophecy. You have these giant corporations that so much of their overhead is being spent on people trying to figure out what their overhead is being spent on. That's literally, like, you gotta feel for some of these people. Like, their whole fucking job is cost savings. And I gotta imagine that a lot of them sit down at the job and within at least a few days, if not a couple of weeks, figure out that the best way to save some big money is to stop wasting so much fucking money trying to figure out how to cost save. Like, that right off the bat, not an effective use of dollars. At the end of the day, none of that shit really, like, generates value for the company because it doesn't generate income for the company, right? In order to make money, you gotta like make shit or do shit or whatever the fuck it is companies do these days. Reality is that money's a lot better spent investing in your employees, getting them the shit they need to do their fucking jobs, right? And I know it's not unique to my industry. My roommate works at a distribution center and he sees the same shit. It's another big corporation and he sees the same shit and describes the same shit. The amount of people who are making way too much fucking money, who are just nitpicking and micromanaging bullshit. Because that's what they were hired to do. That's like the job they were given. But it's fucking useless. It doesn't help anything. Corporate America is so far up its own fucking ass. They have no idea. Well, some of them might have some idea. I don't fucking know. But it does feel like a lot of it's just a runaway train at this point. It's just overhead for overhead's sake. At the end of the day, we used to be a country that made shit. Built shit, produced shit. Now, overall, we're a country who manage each other. That's, like, objectively, way too many of us have jobs where our responsibility is managing and micromanaging other people. And there's certainly a lot of other factors, but I think it's one of the fucking reasons why we're in such a weird place as a nation. We're either micromanaging someone or being micromanaged at work. Chances are good, right? These relationships are shitty. They can be abusive in nature because we're all fucking desperate to stay working. We all got bills to pay. So people on both sides of the argument have big stakes. It's real shit. Reality is corporate America outsourced our jobs in the name of profit. If we want to make America great, we got to figure out how to bring it back.